What's up, everybody? Hello from Jeff, Justinn, and Pete. We are the Post-Trauma Podcast, and this is it's our first episode. We are here to talk about the wonderful sport of Jiu Jitsu, our experiences with Jiu Jitsu, and the role that Jiu Jitsu has played in our mental health and that of our friends and teammates. And we're super stoked to be here. Today's show is just about, we're just kind of introing ourselves, and we're going to just be talking about kind of how we found ourselves in this career.
Thanks, Pete. Before we get into it, we just want everybody to know that if you're struggling, reach out. There's all kinds of resources. We'll put links in the description. We are not mental health professionals by any means whatsoever, but we have benefited from various, aside from jiu-jitsu, with other mental health professionals. And on the other side of that, obviously if you're struggling, reach out. But if you have a friend you think is struggling, reach out to them, give them a text or whatever. It might mean a lot.
Thanks, buddy. Hey guys, my name's Justin. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background on myself right now. So I've been a blue belt for about quite a few years. I don't even know, 2 years, whatever. Whatever, just give it away. I'm a dad of 4 kids. I know I look too young to have 4 kids, but it is what it is.
Can't pull out of a garage.
Exactly. I was in the Air Force. Yes, the Air Force. So I'm smarter than everybody, per se, right?
We'll let you know.
Yeah, exactly, which I'm probably not, but the reason, but that's about it, man, about myself. We'll go into more depth, more that we do this. We just want to give just a brief synopsis of what we're doing here. So, Pete?
What's up? My name's Pete. I'm a dad of 2 because I'm smart. I'm the newest guy here. I've been training 16 months now. I'm still a lowly white belt and garbage, but I love this stupid sport and changed my life. So I'm just really excited to get blue belts there and get a Jiu-Jitsu Save My Life tattoo and then quit and tell all my friends I'll be back in 6 months.
I'm like once a month.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm too busy with life, dude.
Life's crazy, man. I'll be back soon, guys. I promise. So, anyhow.
4 years later.
I'm Jeff. I'm the resident old man of the group. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for like 15 years. I'm a brown belt. Yeah, I know I'm not that good. I'm still a brown belt at 15 years, but I'm a dad of 2 as well. Work, all that stuff. I came to jiu-jitsu a long time ago. We'll get into the story of how I got into it, but yeah, like these 2 idiots, jiu-jitsu's all offer me physically, and especially my mental health. So that's kind of why we're here, just to kind of talk about it and share our stories and other people's stories. And
yeah,
we're all broken, man.
Broken toys, dude.
Broken Toys Club.
Yeah. So, Justin, you've been a grappler pretty much your whole life. Why don't we start there, dude?
Yeah, I've done wrestling for a long time. That's why I have a messed up neck. Did football, same reason, got a really crappy neck now. They call me the old young guy because I'm so broken.
Justin is the oldest young guy that I know. One of the oldest young guys that I know.
No.
But yeah, I'm really passionate about it. I'm passionate about the mental health aspect of it, and you start to find out when you are in a gym of any kind of sort, especially a martial arts gym. We're just talking about jiu-jitsu because that's how we all met. And that's...
But I think you probably go into any kind of martial arts gym, whether it's jiu-jitsu to karate, even like boxing, you get to know your teammates and you start to kind of look out for each other and kind of try and boost each other up, and, rising tide raises all ships. Kind of philosophy.
I dealt with a lot of mental health issues, and jiu-jitsu was kind of my path to get on a better path, and a better path for my family, my wife, my kids. And yeah, that's exactly, I'm very passionate about it. Again, I lost a lot.
Are you passionate about it? You said it like 8 times already.
Dude, I repeat myself. Get used to it, by the way.
That's it.
But I lost a lot of friends to, unfortunately, a lot of mental health issues, and so I'm super passionate about it again. I just had to
You've got a lot of passion.
Yeah.
Passionate man.
What about you, Pete? Why are you here? And
Why am I here?
yeah, well,
Broken toys, man. Gosh, I had done jiu-jitsu a long time ago, like right after college, and I did like a year, but like sporadically because I was still like 20 and my life was, I didn't know.
Stupid.
Yeah, stupid.
Yeah.
And then for life reasons, I stopped for 18 years, which was really stupid. And my son started, and he was like, always like, "Dad, come do it with me." Now he hates it. He's like, "Leave me alone. Don't pay attention to me." But then I came back, and it kind of like time of my life where I was just like super bummed out, like bad level bummed. It wasn't good. So
Yeah.
I had kind of nothing going on, and just for whatever reason, like going in there and just getting beat up and just being terrible, and then like, but I would go home, and for 3 hours afterwards, I didn't feel negative about anything.
Yeah.
And then that weird little feeling started to like, after a while, a month in, it's like you wake up the next morning, you're like, I'm not stoked, but that's okay, because like I got jits tonight, so like it's all right, let's go.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
What about you,
A
Jeff?
similar kind of trajectory. I've been doing jiu-jitsu a lot longer, and I mean, I don't want to say it was before my major trauma, because everybody has trauma in their kids and teenagers, adults, but I experienced some things both in my childhood and being in the military and deploying and all that stuff. And the one thing I'll say, like with jiu-jitsu, is like when it was like really dark, like when I was at the darkest, real super darkest spots, like going to jiu-jitsu for like an hour and a half, like that was just like, it was the light, like it was just that light,
Yeah,
and
man.
darkness.
exactly.
Yeah, you
And,
get
like,
that afterglow for a couple hours.
and like
Yeah.
it was something I could look forward to. Like, oh man,
Yeah.
it's Sunday. Like I can't wait till tomorrow night I could go to jiu-jitsu. And then like Tuesday morning, I'm like, I'm not going until Thursday. And like, but it's something to kind of keep you going. It's
Yeah.
it really got me through a lot of like dark times, and so like I'm super fortunate for that. There's a funny story on how I kind of got into it, but I guess
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Tell,
yeah,
it's
why not?
it's
Yeah.
a delightful little tale.
it's short. It's short. Sit down, children. Let Pappy tell you a tale. This was years ago. I had a vehicle. The job that I had or have still. I had a vehicle that I could park at home, and I could just take off and drive and do what I needed to do for that, because I did a lot of field work. One day, I'm probably driving a little too fast through the suburbs, and I get pulled over by one of the local cops, and I'm like, there's a clearly marked vehicle, with the decals and stuff on it, and I'm like, there's no way he's gonna give me a ticket. At first, I pulled over. I thought he was going somewhere else, like to car crash or an emergency or something. He pulls in behind me, I'm like, seriously, like gives me a ticket. I'm like, all right. And so, at least in Pennsylvania, you can request to go to have like a informal trial in front of the magistrate, and so I requested one 6 weeks later, and got the directions to where I needed to go, and I'm driving there, and I drive right past the gym that we all train at now, and I'm like, it was like kismet, like I was like, oh, and I remembered it, and I got home, and like I researched it, and I found their website and stuff, and here I am, like 15 plus years later, and the magistrate did give me a break on the ticket. He didn't let me off, but I still had to pay a fine, but I tell people it was the best $95 I ever spent.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, so to play off of that, my story is kind of interesting as well on how I got to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Looking at me.
I like looking,
You're staring into my soul.
Gazing. I have to look at someone when I talk. Well, I guess I can look at the camera, right? Hi, guys.
We're looking at that. You can look at that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
I'm kind of weird.
It's making me nervous. It's making me feel awkward.
It's okay, but yeah. So, but how I got into jiu-jitsu is a weird story, because I was a firefighter, and we were at a house fire, and one of the cops there, after we were cleaning up and everything, a good buddy of mine came up to me and said, "Hey, I was gonna be starting a gym." I'm like, okay. you know, when are you going to do it? He's like, oh, in the next couple of months. Well, time went by. You know, he called me in, you know, probably like, I guess, 3 weeks after. He's like, man, I need a kid's grappling coach. Can you help out? And he knew that I wrestled and, you know, my grappling experience. And I was like, okay, cool. Awesome. So got to be at his gym, got to be the head coach there, developing his program with his kids there, which was great. That was a phenomenal thing. It just such good things that happened with my mental health at that point. You know, and then I ended up moving. When I ended up moving, I had to find a gym, and the gym that I now go to, which is Steel City Martial Arts, so thank you, Steel City Martial Arts. Santino, I walked in the door, he was...
Free advertising.
Exactly. He was super, super friendly and welcoming, and everybody in the gym, you know, when I first started, came up to me and said, hey, what's your name? Introduced themselves. And I knew right there and then that was the gym for me.
I think that's really a good indicator. Like, if you walk into a gym, like even if you're traveling, like I know you travel a lot.
Yeah.
I've trained at the gyms on the road too. And like, yeah, if you go in and the owner or just people at that gym are like that, then you know you're in a good place.
Yeah, and like I said, the people too, and that's kind of what made me stay, and I'm still there, obviously, and I wouldn't trade the gym for anything.
You still train when you can.
Well, we'll go into that later, because I get hurt.
Justin is
not at Jiu Jitsu.
Justin is the most unlucky person.
I am, yes, but yeah, hey, yeah, Pete, what about you, buddy?
Oh boy. Oh shit, man.
Language.
I think we're past the line here.
Yeah,
We're good. Yeah. So I actually I'd seen Jeff before, I'd seen Justin before, because I would take my son to jiu-jitsu, and then
yeah, my son trains and Pete's son trains as well.
So Pierce, my son, was doing a tournament, and then I didn't know what the hell was going on, because like I'd never been to one of those before, and Justin was like, yeah, I'll help out and I'll coach him and tell him what to do, and he did okay that day. And then we all hopped in the car because kids are done early, and they're like, oh shit, we can get back in time for kids class. So like we took off and got back there, and everyone was, hey man, how was it? And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I didn't see Justin again for like 2 months, and then our sons are friends, and he was like, hey dude, you should come to my son's birthday party. So we talked some more, and he was like, when are you coming? When are you gonna start, dude? And that was like, what, Aiden's birthday is like, what, October?
That was in September. November, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you the actual date, but yeah, somewhere in there.
Oh yeah, it's late. Whatever.
They can do math. We'll figure it out.
Exactly.
But yeah, a couple months later, like my whole life basically exploded in my face, largely because I had a lot of underlying depression and shit I wasn't dealing with, and it was like, yeah, dude, well, now you're gonna deal with everything all at once.
Yep.
And good luck to you.
Start this new hobby that's really, really difficult.
Yeah, start doing
90% of people quit.
Yeah, and I kind of like was like 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and then one day I was just laying on my couch feeling sorry for myself and hating my life between jobs, and just like everything sucked. And Justin came over and beat the shit out of me. And it's crazy because I beat the shit out of me, dude. I'd known you for like 2 months. And then you were like, dude, get serious about your fucking life. And that was it. And and then from then it was just like every freaking day I was there, and slowly but surely like I started to see like my personality open up again, and like start to remember who I was supposed to be. And I started making friends with folks, and I'm not from Pittsburgh. I don't have a connection to the city, and I think that was the biggest wrinkle for me, is like I didn't know anybody. Yeah. And I used to be like way into CrossFit, and then like the guy I used to do comps with, he was like my best friend in the city. He's worked for Chevron, moved away, and I was just like alone. And I was just, everyone. We talk about this a lot, but like everyone needs a fucking tribe, man. Yeah, you need a tribe, and you need. I've been thinking about this a lot lately too. Is that like you need patterns in your life. right?
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
like, but they need to be
Sure.
productive patterns. My old pattern used to be like,
Well, you can have destructive patterns too.
well, that's it. Yeah, yeah. That's the
I
thing.
was
It's like,
I was real good at that.
oh, and I had insanely destructive patterns. You know, like get
We'll
up,
go into that later.
get up late, feel sorry about myself because I went to bed too late the night before because I wasn't happy with my life. And even when I was like my old job, I didn't like what I was doing, so I was just bummed out all the time. And then I didn't have anything to do after work and nothing to look forward to. So like, might as well get a 6-pack and see what happens. And then I'd just sit here and watch Netflix and drink beer till 2 a.m. like a loser. And it was like I didn't want to be around me.
Yeah.
I didn't like me. I sucked. And looking back, it was just like your pattern sucked, dude. You're not a bad dude. You're just your
Yeah.
patterns
Well,
suck.
we'll go into that. What did I make you do the first?
Clean my fucking house.
Yeah, but what was the thing that I wanted you to do every single day to try to like
Get up, make your fucking bed.
Yeah, because that
Do something.
do something.
Do
because
one
that
thing in the
changes
morning.
pattern, yeah.
But the crazy thing is that, like, as a younger person, I was insanely disciplined. And then over time, just like things happened in my life that weren't great. And like,
Yeah.
it chipped away at who I was and I lost all of it.
Yeah, that's
And-
why BJJ is so good, man, because it teaches you. It is really like life, right?
Yeah, we're a little biased because we all
Yeah.
do jiu-jitsu.
But
But I think
It is like life.
any martial art, any kind of activity, like Pete said earlier, like where you can get that tribe, you know, whether it's CrossFit or jiu-jitsu or powerlifting or running or whatever, you know.
But I've been thinking about that, like, activity. It's like sitting on a bar stool and talking about the Steelers draft is an activity. You can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
So is gambling.
Yeah, gambling.
But that can be, if for the right person, that can be what they need for their mental health.
It can be. It absolutely can be. But I think if you have balance in other aspects of your life, I think what realistically, like, I believe men in particular need this kind of thing. Like, you know, that whole like toxic masculine. It's like we're biologically designed. We're not going to outthink evolution. We're biologically designed to like go out and fight and win. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And not everyone is a martial person. Like jiu-jitsu isn't for everybody, but like
It is true.
Just like in the military lifestyle isn't for everybody either.
right. So, but I think in order to really feel fulfilled is like you need to do something that is challenging. Like every day.
Yeah.
And it could, if you're like, even if you're confined to a wheelchair, you could still teach it, like learn to play chess at a high level. And like choosing to engage with other people in it. And I'm also a firm believer it's like walking into an environment where like, if you're the best tennis player, stop playing tennis and go take up something else.
Yeah.
Go do something that you suck at.
Or stop playing tennis at your local court. And
Yeah,
go find people that are better than
Go
you.
find some fucking killers. Yeah. And see what happens. Cause like, I think everybody needs humility. Like if you're the best guy in the room, every room you walk into, you're in the wrong room, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
Go
that's
find a room where you suck.
Let's go back to wrestling, right? I was a wrestler, so when I started jiu-jitsu, you know, the thing about wrestling is all you have is winning. That's it. You know, if you don't win, you don't.
Yeah, and it's not-
you
It's
don't
a very
progress.
different kind
And
of
it's not
mindset.
glory
Yeah.
like you won the football game and the quarterback's, you
Yeah.
know, like being carried out. Everyone's like, oh, you want to rep? Cool. Like, no one
Yeah,
cares.
Exactly. So
I won my match at last week's tournament.
We're just a different breed. Wrestlers are definitely a different breed. But back to what I was going to say was, you know, it's, you know, back to that being tough. Well, I thought, oh, I'm a wrestler. I'm going to do really good at BJJ. And when I got to Steel City, that wasn't the case. Yeah, there was guys that I could handle. There was guys that I could move on. But there's one guy in particular that is, he's what, in his 40s?
Probably.
Yeah.
He's probably, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he would just beat
looks
the
like-
crap out of you.
He looks like your accountant.
I
yeah.
was literally just about to
Looks like
say, kind
the
of-
guy that does your taxes.
Exactly, and his name's Stan, and Stan got me into triangle after triangle after triangle,
Which
just beat the crap
wrestlers
out of me.
fall into a lot.
Yes.
That's pretty common. Like
Yeah.
wrestlers kind of get caught with triangles a lot.
And that's he's the one who kind of humbled me. He's the one who was, you know, got me to calm down, and if I didn't, I probably wouldn't have as many people wanting to roll with me.
I still don't want to roll with you.
I know, neither does Pete. Pete is roll with me.
Nobody wants to roll with me.
I do. No.
Yeah, man. But that humility thing, man. That's because like we joke about this all the time. We talk about it. It's like I look at like I think about my mentality before I started. I look back at pictures and I'm walking around thinking I was a tough guy. And it's like, no, you're not, stupid. You're not. You're not.
Exactly.
You think you are. You're not. And like we joke about this all the time. The guy is like, I see red, bodies hit the floor. And it's like, nope. Okay.
Well, one saying that we have in jiu-jitsu is we don't fail, we learn. And I love that saying because
we were talking the other day. I think was it Anthony Bourdain? Because he's a jiu-jitsu guy too, and
the joy, the thrill,
the thrill of just getting incrementally better at something. And for me personally,
but in his words, was being incrementally less awful than I was.
Yeah. For me, like that's really the biggest draw, and that's been the constant draw to this martial art and martial arts in general over the years now. Is just that challenge of like, okay, I got this thing the other day, but like I still need to work on this, and this, and then like, it's always. I mean, it's like doing anything. It's like, it's just figuring one thing out and getting better at that. Then realizing you have a hole here and a hole there, and it's just this constant like learning cycle, and it's constantly a challenge. And
dude, I'm not a psychologist, and I'm sure someone might watch this and think this is like spouting off conspiracy.
Don't judge us.
Like conspiracy nonsense, but like if you think about the period of time that humans have been on Earth, and depending on who you ask, but let's just for easy math say it's 100,000 years, roughly, modern humans, right?
Somebody's gonna fact check it.
Probably, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care,
Sorry.
but I'm just saying easy math. Christopher Hitchens used to do that. Like let's just say it's 100,000. Let's leave it at that. But think about even in our own parents, like my parents in their 80s, right? And my mom told me that every year at Christmas, there's a wealthy man in her town in Western Massachusetts, and it was a big deal. He bought every kid, school child, an orange.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal for Christmas. And now, dude, I want an orange. It could be negative 20 fucking degrees out, and I can drive up the street to the grocery store and go get one, right? So if you think about the relative ease that we've got food, shelter, and on-demand entertainment right here all the time, everything is easy. Yeah. And I think the reason why so many people are like, they're feeling this like itch or this, and they label it depression or whatever, is that everything's too easy. There's no struggle anymore.
Yeah.
Relatively, for the most part, like the basic stuff to keep you alive.
Yeah.
Heat, shelter, and food are relatively easy to acquire.
We're not getting chased by saber-toothed
tigers. So, but I think especially for dudes, everything's easy, and there's this itch in us, and I think it's biologically, it's evolutionarily programmed into us that like we want something, we want a challenge.
We need a challenge, yeah.
And if you don't have one, it's really like, I think I heard this a couple months ago, but it's like the only solution to involuntary suffering is voluntary suffering. It's like you put yourself through hard shit, you challenge yourself, and then that's when something pops up in life, because things always do, because we're humans, and like shit happens. You get in a car accident or whatever, but you're mentally better prepared to manage that because you voluntarily put yourself through a struggle.
Yeah. I think too, in the larger kind of point, like it's that search for fulfillment.
Yeah.
Because man, woman, child, everybody they need something in their life that gives them that sense of fulfillment, because like, we've all kind of been there in the dark times, and you really don't have that, and you're just in your own head, and you're depressed, and you can't get off the couch, and you drink yourself to sleep every night.
I think we talked about this the other day, and I can't remember where I read this, but I read years ago that it was the advent of the television that actually you started to see like a drop off in life satisfaction, because like prior to the TV, if you're in you're a married couple, men have their bowling league and the Rotary Club, and then the women's have their women's auxiliary, and a couple nights a week you were getting out of the house and connecting with other people. And now it's just like, I got 400 channels, I'll find something to entertain me. And like to have something where you're going out, doing something challenging and communing with other people is really fulfilling.
So here's a question to get back on topic here a little bit is, Pete, as a white belt, when you first started jiu-jitsu, when did you feel that humility? When was that humility? When did that set in for you?
Day one, dude.
Yeah. So when did the humility set in, and how did you deal with it and overcome it?
Oh, Jesus. I think if I had started even 5 years ago, I wouldn't have stayed. I feel too arrogant. I think now, like, I was just, like, such a bum in my life that I was just like, well, it's just another thing you suck at, but maybe if you get better at this, you can do better. Like, you know what I mean? I was just like, I sucked across the board at everything at that point. Like, I just wasn't happy with me. So immediately, actually the first person I ever rolled was you, and you know, smashed the shit out of me, and that sucked. But I had nothing else going on. I was like, well, you know, what am I gonna do? Like, not come back and be an even bigger bitch and just so like I had no choice. I just kept showing up.
What was when did you accept that? When did you accept
immediately?
When did you accept humility?
Immediately.
Immediately.
Like I knew immediately that, like, you're no good at this. And the only way to get good is to keep showing up. So you have to make a choice. You either want to get good or you don't.
So what made you come back?
I had nothing else going on. Good. And it was something to do every day.
Yeah. What about you, Jeff? So when was the very first time you felt humility in jiu-jitsu?
I like Pete's. I hate to give the canned answer, but exactly like Pete's. At my very first class, we did like clock chokes. We did all collar chokes. Yeah. So like I sounded like the 80-year-old lady down the street that smokes 3 packs of unfiltered cigarettes. Hey, honey, I sounded like that for like 3 days. And the very first class I rolled with Sonny.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. And he wasn't even trying. And Sonny's not a big guy. He's probably 5'8",
Yeah.
He's a strong.
He's a stout man, dude.
I think he's in his 60s now.
Yeah.
I don't want him to get mad at me. He'll come like murder me in my sleep or something.
Yeah.
But I rolled with Sonny in my first class, and he was just toying with me. And I'm like, I'm a big guy. I'm like, say Sue, like he's this little Italian dude, and just ragdolling me all over the place and laughing at me. I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's really what kind of sucked me in, was like the challenge.
Yeah.
Because to me, really, like, that's the best part for me is, yes, it's physical, but it's the mental challenge too.
Yeah.
It's both. And I'm sure there's other other things that kind of draw you in like that too. Where you get the physical and the mental challenge.
On that point, real quick though, like especially as a new guy, for me, is that like, maybe you know how you have the ebbs and flows, right? And you'll have like 2 weeks where you're feeling like hot shit, and then you're like, dude, I'm getting better. And then someone you're like, oh, like for me, it's like any colored belt. I'm like, I think I can hang. I could probably pass this guy's guard, like maybe. And then you just get your dick kicked off, and then you go,
yep.
Yeah, I'm still an infant here,
So back to you, Jeff. What made you come back after getting humiliated? Because that is a tough thing for a man to get over.
Yeah, especially a guy in a military guy too. Like it's like it's the big like alpha male community. I hate that term, but like that term gets thrown around a lot.
Again, like you, crayon munchers.
Really, like it was that first class. It was just like, like Pete said, like I'm not as tough as I thought I was.
Yeah.
And probably like if I had started younger, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it. Just because I wasn't. I think when I came to jiu-jitsu, like I was just kind of at the right place, and I've kind of managed to kind of keep up with that, and kind of stay in the right place through kind of out my jiu-jitsu journey. And like that humility part, like, I mean, I hate to sound like this. You gotta be humble. Like, I hate to sound it, but like, if you're not, because like I've seen it, especially like these dudes come in and they're just world beaters. Like you think they're just gods walking among men, and they're there for a couple of years, and then you never see them again. And you're like, that guy was really good, and like, but I'm still here.
Here, exactly.
Yeah, and it's sometimes they can't handle that. They can't handle that hit to their because they'll. Especially like with wrestlers, right? Yeah. They'll come in, and I've said this before, like they'll come in and they'll just dominate people, because maybe they were like a state champ or something, right? They'll just dominate people. The other white belts just smash them into the dirt, maybe they get the blue belt, and just kind of just on their wrestling skills, and I've seen it until they hit that guy, you have that one dude that just, I was the 40-year-old dude with the 40-year-old purple belt with the dad bod. This 25-year-old kid who's wrestled since he was 6 years old, and this 45-year-old dude just murders him. And sometimes they just, some people can't handle it. It's their ego.
Yeah, I like I said, man, if I had showed up like 5 years ago, I don't think I could handle it. But like now, yeah, like you get smashed by someone, like, I mean, I'm 210 pounds. I got my dick handed to me by someone who weighed 140 pounds like a month ago. And it was just, it was just like, you can punch the steering wheel all you want when you go home, but that's not going to fix the fact that, like, you either, if you want to get better, you just got to show up tomorrow. That's it.
Yeah, so I think,
and that's really, like, I won't say anything, but anything physical, like whether it's jiu-jitsu or karate or wrestling or, you got to show up and you got to get the reps in, and in the military, like when you drill stuff constantly, you do shooting drills, you were a medic, you did all that, I'm sure how many thousands of times you practice, putting on a tourniquet or something, what do we have to do this again?
but
no, wait, now it's your turn. We got to ask when you got humiliated.
Oh, that's actually a good one. So Stan didn't humiliate me when I first came in. He kind of gave me motivation.
I don't think anybody sets out to humiliate anyone.
No.
That's a very fair point. I think
you humiliate yourself.
No, that's not even that. It's that feeling you have. That's all internal. That's you just going, oh, it should be better. It's like, well, maybe you should go get better, dude.
Yeah, that's your own ego.
Yeah, because it's not. I've never ever worked with someone who's just like literally like mop the floor with me, and then afterward they're walking around going, pussy. They don't. No one does that. No, that's not it.
But so back to me. Mine was not with Stan, but it was actually rolling with Santino. And Santino's a little guy. While he's strong,
he's not little.
While he's
taller than his dad.
Well, yeah, but he's strong. So when I rolled with him, I will never, ever forget this. I'm trying as hard as I can, and he's just chewing his gum going.
Dude, I've watched him blow bubbles, and have a conversation with people on the bleacher while he's dismantling someone and not even looking.
That's exactly what happened. So I'm trying my hardest. I'm like pulling out all my wrestling stuff, just trying, and he's just, I feel like I'm a toddler. And he's just chewing gum, just talking to people. Hey, I'll see you tomorrow. And that's really when I was like, there's more to this sport than winning and having an ego.
Than just wrestling people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it just resonated with me after that. I went home, man, and I thought to myself, I was like, how? How was this? How?
How is this possible?
Yeah, just how? So it motivated me to learn better, and then, Stan's one of my mentors. He doesn't think he is, but he definitely played a big role in why my technique's good, because I learned from him and how he breaks stuff down and just how he analyzes everything. And I started doing that, and I started looking at concepts instead of just plowing through people. And if anybody knows me, I break everything. I'm like a bull in a china shop. Like, I'm not gentle with anything.
You break yourself.
I don't break myself.
Well, other people do.
Yeah. But you just have to have that humility, and that was the first time I felt it. And I'm like, it sucked at first, but then you start to realize that it's such a good building block to be better. And that's why I'm still with jiu-jitsu today.
And I know I kind of beat this one to death, but like, it makes you better in every aspect of your life. It makes you a better person. It makes you better at work. It makes you better at jiu-jitsu or any, I think you can get it.
Mental health.
Especially. Me too. But, I mean, I don't want people to think that, like, we're just talking about jiu-jitsu, because we're three guys who do jiu-jitsu, but we also, like, kind of used it to cope with a lot of our mental health problems. And so,
Yeah.
and I think, at least for the three of us, we're probably all fortunate that like we have this, and it, it's made us better people as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just grapplers, but dads, partners,
Dude,
co-workers, all that stuff.
It calmed me down so much.
Yeah.
Like,
It does. It makes you think about stuff, because here's the thing, like when you're getting just beat the crap out of, when you're the nail that day, not the hammer, and you're like, I just have to calm down to figure the problem out. If I get angry or upset or I see red, people,
yeah,
you're not going to figure out the problem, and it's going to make it worse for you. And that's truly, honestly, why I like it.
Dude, I like the analogy. Sorry, Pete. I just
Go
want
ahead.
to get this out.
No.
I like I always tell people, like, what it does for me is it turns the volume down on everything else.
Yes.
Because you have to be in that moment when that guy's on your back and has his hooks in, and he's trying to choke you out, or you're getting your arm stretched out, and it's going to get broken if you're not in that moment. So it really turns the volume down. Like, I had a bad day at work, my partner's yelling at me, my kids are brats, like it all that stuff gets kind of pushed away, the volume turned down, and because you have to be right here, because if you're not, you're going to take a nap.
Yeah, and I think,
so Chuck
Sorry.
Palahniuk, is that whatever?
Palahniuk.
Whatever. Fight Club author. I've read a lot of his books.
I read all of his books.
I
don't
we can talk
read,
about it.
so.
Justin can't
We
read.
know.
Yeah.
We know.
Or how he got in the Air Force, I have no idea.
Don't ask.
But
Hazmat blazer.
I just watched Fight Club last night. I don't know why. Jess just like, okay, so, but there's a line in the movie where he says, after fighting, the volume on everything's turned down.
Yeah,
and it's
maybe that's where I picked it up.
but it's fucking true, man. It turns and like to your point a moment ago about like solving a problem, is that like as an outsider watching it go, like if you've never seen jiu-jitsu before, you see two guys rolling and maybe they're going at it pretty good, and you go, oh my god, they're hurting each other, and more often than not, like sometimes it hurts, but not always. But you're not even thinking about that. It really is, and this is like, it's a played out analogy, but it's true. It's like playing chess. Yeah. It's like when someone throws an offensive maneuver, or they're moving in a direction, trying to pass or whatever. That's just a move on a chessboard, and it's just a problem that you've been presented.
Yeah. So the point
you have to figure out the problem.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the point.
No. So the point that I was going to make, is about figuring out the problem, but also it relates in the real world as like with your spouse, right? So instead of your spouse is yelling at you and you're getting into an argument and she's just yelling at you or him, we're
Partner.
open. Yeah, partner. Yeah,
Partner.
we're open to everything here. It kind of makes you not yell back and get aggressive, because it makes you sit back and think a little bit more of, okay, what's going on? Why is she upset?
100%.
He is upset.
I will find myself, instead of, because I think that's a normal. I told you I took that course on like conflict resolution, but it's a normal thing if someone comes at you aggressively to go in a defensive stance and maybe come back over the top. But what in an interpersonal thing, the better solution is to go, well, why is this person upset first, and then make your decision as to how I respond. Yeah. So and I think the point you're making is that when you're spending all your time dealing with what looks like aggression, you just go, well, why are they doing that? It's not. It's like, why did he put his hand there? Why is he posting? And then it applies to a relationship with your partner, where it's like, what are they really upset about? What's going on here?
But here's the thing: if you get upset or see red, right? What happens to that situation? It gets worse.
Yeah.
It gets escalated, right?
It gets worse for everybody.
It gets worse to complete the analogy back to jiu-jitsu, is if you get upset and spazzy, right?
Yeah, spazzy white belts.
You do something,
people, by the way.
Yeah, but you do something stupid, a reactive thing, as opposed to an intentional thing.
Yeah,
and that's the difference. Whereas, I think when you're the same thing, communicating with your partner, if you're communicating intentionally, you can turn the volume down. You can take the pressure in the room down, temperature in the room down. But if it's a reactive response, you're likely to escalate the situation and may end up somewhere you don't want to be, like with some dummy on your back trying to choke you unconscious.
Exactly. And with my mental health issues, my reaction is my default is always went to anger.
Yeah.
Anything, right? I would always go to anger because I didn't know how to deal with my emotions, and I didn't know how to deal with what was going on in that aspect.
And kind of, you guys are just kind of tap dancing around it too, but like,
Yeah.
because, I've been in therapy. I'm still in therapy. I talk to...
We are all in therapy, just like...
No, I talk to a real therapist.
So do I.
Often.
So do I.
It's called Pete. Just kidding.
But like, so you guys know, like, jiu-jitsu's almost, or at least like, especially like rolling, it's like, I don't want to say free therapy because we all pay to go there.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of this stuff that, like, I've kind of learned through therapy and talking to a professional, like, like you draw parallels to jiu-jitsu, like, the reactiveness and things like that, and going to anger. My problem is I don't like conflict.
Yeah.
So like when there is conflict, I tend to shut down.
Yeah, me too.
So like, and
I resort to anger.
and in anything, you can't, because shutting down, like, especially like in the military, like they always say, like, especially when you start going to leadership schools, they tell you it's not making the right or wrong decision, it's making a decision. If you make no decision, then that's like the worst possible outcome.
A lot of people are familiar with that, that the terms fight or flight. There's two other F's. There's fawn or freeze.
Yeah.
And fornicate.
There's that one.
Yeah.
But to your point, as this kind of relates to therapy, because I obviously we all talk to professionals, but like a lot of our reaction to conflict was modeled by our upbringing, right?
Yeah.
So you learn conflict resolution from your family of origin.
Well, because we're never taught how to deal with our emotions, especially as little boys.
Well,
but we could go on another show.
Well, but I mean,
just kids in general.
Historically, I would say, I think nowadays, and I think particularly among men, I feel like the stigma of talking to a therapist has gone down dramatically. Like, I had never watched the show Mad Men, and Jess and I would give it a shot the other night, and I got like 2 episodes.
Once again, it's a pride thing, right? You don't want to admit that you're talking to a therapist.
You're killing
need help.
Yeah. Just let me finish. That's the point we made.
Zip it.
In that show, it's set in the 1960s, and all these like high-powered ad men in New York, right?
Yeah.
And it is one of their wives is struggling with something, and it's like a scandal. Like, oh, she's talking to a shrink. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. I feel like nowadays it's a lot more talked about, and there's still a stigma associated. But I think in particular, because there's so many guys like you guys coming back from combat with real legitimate struggles, that increasingly men are like, yeah, it's okay, man. You can talk about this shit. Because like and that's, so there's, I think, been an evolutionary shift. So as it relates to raising our kids and teaching them a different model for conflict, the fact that we're dads thinking about this stuff, my dad sure as shit didn't. You know what I mean? I was told to pray, shine my shoes, and wear a necktie. I'm not kidding, for real.
Yeah.
So, I think that these conversations are important, and I think that, theoretically, if we're doing our jobs appropriately with our sons, that we can teach them a different model. And being, like, the fawning response all the time is not good for young men either. Learning how to respond appropriately, and sometimes aggression is the appropriate response. But figuring out when, and I think jiu-jitsu can be a very important tool to figuring out, like, how and when is it appropriate to be aggressive.
And I think too, so that just kind of comes with, legally you're an adult at 18, right? Which I don't think legally you should be an adult until you're like 35.
Yeah, well, your prefrontal cortex isn't even done forming until you're 23, 25.
Yeah. But a lot, and something, not to minimize that, but some of it, how different are you now compared to when you were 22?
Dude.
Yeah.
Some of it's growing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is
In 32-year-old me was insufferable.
Yeah. It's like,
shut up.
People that have kids super young, like, I get it, but like, and like my parents were having kids at like 22. Like, there was no freaking way I would have been I could barely take care of myself at
But
22.
again,
Be responsible for a life.
But the other thing is, and I think this it goes to the point I was making earlier, is that like society and culture move a hell of a lot faster now than they did 50 years ago.
Well, I had a kid
Like
at
the-
19, by the way.
Because you're insane.
Can't pull out a driveway.
But we can go into that
Homie,
mental.
you were strange teen, dude.
I was 19 years old.
Oh my god.
You didn't know that?
I think I did, but like just like I was 30 and I wasn't ready.
I was 19
Dude.
when I had Aiden. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's how old is he?
11.
See, did you just turn 30 or something?
I'll be 32
Math.
in August.
Math with post-trauma BJJ.
Yeah, exactly.
With the guy who can't do math.
Yeah.
Who somehow got into the Air Force.
But anyway, with Aiden, yeah, being 19, that was definitely a struggle. That's why when you mentioned it, I was like, wait a minute, I had a kid at 19. But you have to kind of do what you got to do, but it comes along with a lot of mental
Struggles, dude. I couldn't.
struggles. Yeah.
Homie, dude, 19 years old. If someone was like, "This life is like," I remember.
I made that. I'm responsible for that.
I remember
For 18 years.
when I was
at a
18.
minimum.
Well-
Dude, 18 years old. I had to babysit my 1-year-old nephew for an afternoon. I had a mental fucking breakdown.
Yeah.
He started to cry. I didn't know what to do.
Well, that was a dark path where I peed on puppy pads and got plastered all the time. So we could go into that later, but
Yeah,
there's definitely
Well, maybe a little TMI right now, but we'll
get there.
get there.
yeah,
We're getting there.
But let's do some kind of not off topic here, but let's. So what kind of interviews do we want to do for the show? Because
For those of you listening, we're not. It's not just going to be us three idiots sitting here talking
All
about the
five
same
of you.
stuff. all three people that are watching that aren't related to us.
Yeah. I think the goal is to interview folks, friends of ours, teammates. There's a great crew at Steel City. I consider myself.
And people outside of the jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely. I was headed. I consider myself really lucky that like I actually reconnected with guys I went to high school with.
Yeah.
Because of this, like guys I hadn't talked to, like my friend Joe, who I'm hoping we can interview him at some point. It's a brown belt out of Texas. I hadn't talked to him since I was 20.
Yeah.
And then last year when I was going through some shit and he had gone through some similar stuff and I told hey, I started doing jiu-jitsu and he goes, good, don't stop.
Yeah.
But be like, I know guys in Texas, guys in Florida, guys up in Rhode Island. I know you guys know guys all over the country. I feel like there's some really interesting opportunity to like connect with old friends, but also kind of get different perspectives.
Yeah,
on
I
people's
really want to get a woman's perspective on jiu-jitsu
Yeah, for sure,
because there's a lot more. Once again, we're all broken toys.
But the mental health problem. I mean, mental health affects everybody, but it affects men and women differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we kind of want to get their aspects on it too because they go through a lot of struggle and was humility a thing for them? Because that kind of resonates a little different.
I'm actually really interested to know, like, particularly among the women's community at our gym is there a mat general? Because there are mat generals for the men for sure.
Yeah,
It's like if you start showing a little too much ego, someone just goes, "Hey, come here, can you handle this, please?"
yeah, you just send them the Andre.
I wasn't going to say that out loud, Jesus, man. But I would be interested to know if they're like, because obviously, like you said, men and women interact very differently. So I'm wondering, like, what does that dynamic look like among that community?
Well, and we'll get there. We have some ladies that we're probably going to be able to interview, and
Yeah.
Exactly.
so again, like we kind of got, we're gonna interview some people. Sometimes it's gonna be the three of us. Sometimes we're gonna have people where we talking to. We might be doing like Zoom calls or something,
And then
or whatever. But kind of remind them a little bit, like with the jiu-jitsu community, you see a lot of people, or at least maybe we're a little bit biased, but you see a lot of people that struggle with mental health that try jiu-jitsu. That it's just this wonderful thing for them. And I mean, it's not. I'm not saying that. Hey, everybody, do jiu-jitsu and your depression will be cured.
Yeah, exactly.
It's never that. And people know, like, it's meds if you need them. It's therapy. It's physical fitness. And in our case, our physical fitness is jiu-jitsu. But in anything, I know people that, like, They deal with depression. They run. They're like, it's great.
Yeah.
It's like a drug. It's this. It's great. And
Did you guys hear anything about the studies that came out in the last 2 years, basically saying that the net effects of physical fitness are essentially as good, if not better, than SSRIs?
Well, you have dopamine drop.
Because
dopamine hit.
I
need my store-bought neurotransmitters.
Yeah,
or I can't go to jiu-jitsu.
So it's an interesting perspective, because I've talked to a lot of people that have tried them, and some people are like, it's life-changing and it's great. Other people are like, I've tried 6 different meds and nothing's helped. And then other people are like, it made my shit worse. And then some people go, I didn't feel anything.
Your results may vary.
That's what's really, I think, fascinating about that, is that body chemistry is different. But what's interesting is there's kind of this built-in mechanism that has a positive impact for kind of everybody.
Yeah.
Ben Franklin said it. He's like, it's impossible to be in a bad mood after a long walk.
Well, that's why we want to do.
I don't know. You've never been in the military. I've been in a lot of bad moods after a long walk.
Long fucking walk.
So we're definitely not going to be all boring and stuff. We do want to do some instructional.
We'll probably be boring.
We want to do some instructional videos at some point.
Pete's going to do the instruction.
Yeah, we're gonna do
He's going to be the white belt coach.
Yeah,
this position's called Kesa Kit something with a K. It's Japanese. You put your knee under the shoulder. It's great.
Queso?
You want to throw one out there then, just to be obnoxious?
God, what's it?
Why are you pointing at me?
Well, because I know you'll have an opinion on this. What's your take on the recent uptick of high profile celebrities who are like, I'm in jiu-jitsu now? Do you think it's good?
I don't know if it's good or not. That's a really tough topic, because you have certain people, it puts jiu-jitsu out there, so it makes it more widely known. So, people who necessarily wouldn't know about it are going to know about it now, and maybe, hey, let's try interest in it. Is there a BJJ gym around me? Let me try it. Let me see how it is. Yeah. What about you, Jeff?
I've been back and forth on it. I think now it's I'm totally fine with it, as long as they earn their stripes.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Did you see that footage of Tom Hardy rolling? He can scrap, dude.
Yeah, he's good. I've watched some of his old stuff, and now some of his newer stuff. He's gotten a lot better too.
Yeah, he's no joke.
He's legit. But I'm cool with it, and it's funny that you guys might do this too. You'll see a celebrity on TV, it's like, oh yeah, they're a blue belt. Your friends, your Muggle friends who don't train.
Yeah,
dude, can you stop? Look, we get it.
Dude, Ed O'Neill from Married with Children?
He's black belt.
He's been a black belt for 20 years, dude.
Yeah.
He trained with the Machados a million
and the
years.
Gracies.
Yeah. I'm a new guy, so I don't know that I'm allowed to have an opinion on this yet. But I think in general, I agree. If they earn their stripes, so to speak. But also, I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's exposure for our sport, which is awesome. I think there's a certain percentage of people that do it because it's the new Ozempic, and they're gonna do it. I'm serious. They're gonna do it until they realize, oh, this hurts and these bruises.
Oh, this is hard.
Yeah, this is really freaking hard, and no one cares about my Instagram post. In which case, but that's any other person that walks through the door. Some people are gonna go, this is for me, and other people after a couple months ago, this hurts and I don't want to do this anymore. And that's fine too.
Celebrities, especially and a lot of people in the jiu-jitsu community, oh, they're just paying for their belts and blah, 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 all that stuff. Some of those people have the resources to be able to train 5 or 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And they because of who they are, they have access to
the best,
really high-level people that they can train with. The nice thing about jiu-jitsu is it's largely accessible. If you want to go train with a world champion, you can just drive to their gym and do a drop-in. If they're teaching, you can train with them.
Yeah. Which is
how many seminars have we all gone to where you're training with legends in the sport?
Dude,
with Professor Sauer, a legend in the sport.
Or just
I tried
to Tavares.
I tried to explain that to a family member, because my brother was like, is that a big deal? And I'm like, it's when Professor Sauer came, it's kind of like meeting a member of the Beatles. For people who care about what we care about, maybe not for you, but for the guys that care about what we care about, it's like one of the grandfathers of the sport.
Or like when you guys probably weren't training, but when Huron Gracie came to this, he was in Pittsburgh to do some like law enforcement stuff. And he dropped in the night before. He was the most gracious person, you know. Elio Gracie's grandson, you know, and just the nicest dude, and he taught class, and we talked earlier about, you know, just getting dismantled by somebody not even trying.
Yeah, exactly.
He was rolling with he wanted to roll with somebody who was really good. He was purple belt. The guy, he's brown belt now, not me because I'm terrible. But he's rolling with this guy, and then explaining what he wanted everybody else to do, because it was similar to sweep, pass, submit, but what did he call it? Movers and stoppers. So, like, you'd start in guard, and then the guy, you know, one guy's trying to pass, the other guy's trying to stop them.
Yeah.
If they pass, and say they get the side control, just keep going. So then your goal is to stop them from either submitting you or getting to mount. If they get them out, then, you know, it's this kind of stepped, like, positional rolling almost. And he's rolling with this guy who's really, 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 really good, and talking like we're talking now, and just dismantling him.
Yeah.
I was just like,
yeah, exactly.
My you know, the jaw agape, I think.
So to get back on track again, that's okay. We can talk about this stuff forever, but we're here to do a show, and my thing is, here's my next question for everybody.
Why do you keep looking at me?
Because I like looking at you.
You're getting creepy.
You're sexy.
Okay. You don't blink either. It's weird.
So, what do we want this podcast to be, and what do we want people to get out of this podcast?
I want to get rich out of it. I don't know what you guys want. I want to make like piles and piles of money, so I don't have to work anymore.
Cool. And the link to Jeff's OnlyFans will be in the description box.
And it's all feet pics.
Yeah.
I have hobbit feet.
Yeah, I got girly feet.
No, like, you know, I want to, you know, and I remember with Justin, and we first started talking about this, like, we all just kind of, you know, it was to tell a story and to kind of, and that's, you know, like, I just want to, like, our little sliver of kind of our experiences with, you know, with jiu-jitsu and mental health, and you know, like I said earlier, like, you know, people listening and watching, like, this isn't just going to be all jiu-jitsu all the time. Like, you know, it's, we go to jiu-jitsu because that's kind of what the three of us know, and that's what brought us together. But as far as this podcast, like, I just, you know, I'm going to tell my story and your story, and, you know, do the interviews and give people a chance to tell their stories and their points of view. And if 5 people that I'm not related to listen to it, then I'll consider it a success.
Yeah.
What about you, Pete?
Yeah, kind of similar, man. You know, like, I think, you know, I look at last year for me, it was like the worst and best year all at once, because, like, I just, you know,
that happens a lot.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like you like take one in the bollocks, and then you got 2 choices, like lay down and hold your balls and complain and be like, this hurts, or get
without
up.
struggle, there's no gain.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like making choices.
Sometimes you just have to hit rock bottom before.
Yeah. So, but honestly, I really started thinking about it, and our friend JP, who we want to interview, is really active in the vets community,
who may be our first interview.
Yeah,
which is great, and a great and powerful dude. And Justin introduced me to him, and when we started talking, and he like listened, and then like it was interesting that, like you guys both combat vets. JP's a combat vet. That's not me, but you know. What I felt from interacting with guys, particularly guys, military guys, is like this, like, hey, we don't leave anybody behind, you know? Mm-hmm. And like so many guys that I barely knew. Like, I didn't even know JP's fucking last name when I first got to know him. And he was like, here's my number. If you ever need anything, call me. Yeah. So like, I noticed that like that whole like looking out for your brothers kind of thing, like really resonated with me. And I didn't have that. So I think, and part of that, I think, is telling stories, you know, listening to guys and just really giving guys a space to like, hey, here's what I went through and here's how I figured it out. Yeah. So to Jeff's point, if there's like 5 people out, like 5, 10, whatever, maybe it's 100,000.
Whatever.
What? But like, even if it's one dude who hears this and was like, you know what, man, maybe I'll try something different. Like, good. We'll see. Like, we'll start there.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
Yeah, so just for me, my biggest thing is just outreach to people. If we can just outreach to one person and it changes one person's life, it's worth it. This whole, just us sitting down, doing notes, putting all this effort into this podcast, it's worth it if we help one person. Yeah.
We're flying by the seat of our pants here.
But to wrap everything up, what topics are we going to be talking about next week? Or are we just
next show?
Next show, I think we're shooting for our first interview, right?
I think, Are we going to have JP on?
I talked to him this week.
The bearded
Viking.
The bearded Viking, yeah.
I bet he has an OnlyFans.
Also, for everybody listening out there, we're going to try to do a show every 2 weeks right now. Hopefully, if it picks up, we'll, start doing it every week, but we have to have, people listening and stuff like that. But
if you say smash that like button, I'm throwing you out.
You already said it, so I'm going to throw you
out. No, but check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
We'll put on links
and descriptions of it. I think it's Post Trauma Podcast.
Feel free to reach out to us. We'll try to.
Not me, because I won't listen.
Yeah,
I can't.
We'll try to comment back or whatever as fast as we can. We all have jobs, kids, other priorities.
Lives, so. I think we're at the end. So, best part of the show today.
Best part was
being here with you guys.
I love you guys.
All right, we're gonna go make out now. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all listening.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Sorry, I jumped over everybody. Good.
It's all good.
Say your pieces and.
It's rock and roll, gents.
All right.
Appreciate you.
See you next time.
Have a wonderful day.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.